We're ready whenever you are.
Okay, I don't have any injuries, not that we had any to start with. So to report. Listen, after looking at the tape, I was happy with what I saw defensively. I thought we really played well. We executed the scheme in which Spags had in place and the other coaches, and I thought there was high intensity right from the start. And it started with our defensive line. They between Frank and Chris and I think everybody else was right in line with them. I thought they all played well, and then that obviously allowed the secondary to likewise play well. So with the exception of a couple penalties in there, big plays, they really held them at bay there. So, and then offensively, I thought we started off well, and then we kind of went through a lull there and then came back strong. Again, I thought Pat really played well, especially down the stretch. I mean, at beginning and down the stretch, I think he just, he's tough to stop. And I thought the protection was good, really just about all day. And then Kels, I thought played well. Juju had some big catches for us, and so on. So and the runners, I thought ran extremely hard. So that was good. And special teams, Tommy had a couple of hiccups, but other than that, I thought our special teams played well. It was good. The butt, was backstroking that thing well and did a nice job there. Anyways, with that, time's yours.
Let's go first to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Andy. The Broncos fired their coach, as you know by now. Just wondering, schematically, they probably don't have a lot of time to change much, but are there other challenges that come with playing a team that just fired its head coach and that you might make your team aware of this week?
Yeah, well, I mean, the fact that there could be some changes that take place offensively, defensively, special teams. I'm not sure who they've put in that position to determine what goes on and not go on, but there's always that chance, so that there's a sudden change that's going to take place here. So you've just got to be aware of anything and everything.
Go next to Herbie Teope. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach. Along those same lines, I mean, there's been a lot of turmoil in Denver, but it seems like the one constant has been Jerry Jeudy over these last 3 weeks. What is your biggest takeaway from the last game and what you need to do and pay attention to this week?
Yeah, so I mean, their receivers are good receivers, and Jeudy is really a good player. They played well against us last time, a few weeks ago. So the quarterback had some big runs and Jeudy some big catches, and then their defense played well against us. After we had taken the 27-0 lead, we had the interceptions and they just, their pass defense was tremendous, which it's been all year, and it just kind of tightened up on us at that time. So, we've got to make sure we're on our A game. I mean, they already have our attention from our last game, whatever they did with Hackett or didn't do with Hackett. I mean, they had our attention. We know we've got to be ready. So, that's that's there.
Let's go next to Todd Lebo. Go ahead, Todd.
A couple things here, if I could, Brad. First off, Coach, I saw you got a cheeseburger after the game the other day from the team. Was it tasty? Was it still warm? And what did you do to enjoy Christmas yesterday? Did you do a lot of prep work, I'm sure, but you take a little bit of time for yourself?
So, yeah, the cheeseburger was great. It was fresh and one of the better ones I've had. Great Christmas present. And then yesterday I got to hang out with the family. I gave the coaches a day off and the players obviously a day off. And that was one of the advantages of having a Saturday game. having Christmas off. You don't get very many of those as a coach or a player. So it was great to have it.
And then in a more serious kind of question, not to talk about what the Broncos did here, but just in general in the league, it seems like patience is pretty thin for a lot of these new coaches to kind of get their program in there. I wonder if you could just take me back to your first year in Philly. I know it wasn't the easiest thing in the world, but you got a chance to come back and kind of do it again. Are some of these owners maybe a little too impatient with giving teams, coaches a chance to kind of really get their program in place?
Yeah. So listen, I mean, every owner is different. We were able to finish strong my first year. Started off very slow but progressively got better. And I think as long as the owners can see vision for the future with what they've got, they normally hang with you on that. But I'm sure if they're feeling, I can't speak for them, but I think that's what, as long as they can see something that is going to be a positive going forward, they're good with it. But it is a big money business, and these guys, they've made a lot of money, and they're shrewd businessmen. So you got to stay on top of your A game.
Let's go next to Matt Derrick. Go ahead, Matt.
Coach, we're always kind of trying to quantify just how unique Patrick is. And one of the ways over the weekend, he's now, one of the few guys with 4,500 yards and 35 touchdown passes this season. He's done that 4 times. Tom Brady's done it 5. Nobody else is really in the ballpark. How much does Patrick, benefit and some of his success comes from just coming at the right time? Do you ever think about how his skill set would have translated into, maybe the 70s or 80s, and how much of how he plays is just, unique to today in the situation?
Listen, I think it's great that he had an opportunity to throw the football in college, which I think is a benefit for these kids coming in. But my bet would be that whenever he came in, he would be a pretty good football player, so he has a lot of skill sets that could fit a lot of different offenses. And most of all, he's willing to do, whatever he needs to do to be successful. And he's very smart. So those normally would fit you into probably most eras and schemes.
Let's go last to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Andy, I just wondered, based on your assessment from Saturday's game, 2 guys that played for the first time this season were Danny Shelton and Blake Bell. Just what did you see from them, and how do you think their performances moving forward can help the team?
Yeah, so it was good to get Blake back in and working. He didn't have a ton of snaps, but he had enough to help. And Danny, I thought was kind of in that same situation. Not a ton of snaps, but he did a nice job when called on. Can I tell you what's going to go on? No, you'll get Colin Saunders back, and so how does that fit with Danny's situation? Blake, he'll probably still be in the rotation there. So, but Danny, I can't tell you how that will go for him, but we sure are glad to have him. He's a great kid and a good football player.
Coach, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Thanks, guys.